particularly if they've focused on their local market, they've invited someone to a meetup or a live event so that you can have a more in-depth conversation with folks. And then, when they make the offer or the webinar or the high-ticket item, it makes more sense.
Well, I certainly agree with you there. I mean, so out of all of that, what would you say is the biggest key? Do you think that getting them to do the first click is the biggest key, or do you think the most effective is something online that they click to, or do you think that emails are more effective?
Oh boy, I think that's kind of depending on the business owner and what they're trying to sell. I tend to lean towards getting that first click, but it's really important to try to get the right person to click, because you can waste a lot of
true,
time.
because otherwise you just kind of have a bunch of people on your list, but they're never buying.
Right. So, which is surprising and discouragingly easy to do. So, I mean, we forget that, when we talk to people in person, there's this process we go through, like, is there chemistry there? Do we think we are fit? Do you have what I'm looking for? Do I think you'd be a good person to work with? And, you have to kind of model that somewhat online, which I think can be tricky to do sometimes. When they did that first click and maybe they get on their list, giving them content to read or videos to watch, that's kind of modeling that in-person conversation. And it might be kind of more one way, but at least they can get a sense of you and just decide whether, oh yeah, this person has interesting information. It's helpful for me. I've already implemented it in my business. I want to deepen the relationship here. And I think that's the tough thing to do, is that people think, oh yeah, it's just a matter, click, they get my lead magnet, and then I can just sort of slam them with, offer after offer after offer. Well, when you meet somebody at a networking event, you don't immediately offer your service. You get to know them first. And I think that's really important to model a little bit of that getting to know you online, whether it's like, hey, follow, come and join me on Twitter, or, check out my videos I have on some key questions that I get a lot of the time. And then they're ready for that deeper relationship and possibly that sale.
Yeah, I have somebody I know who actually sends out 3 emails. They are nuggets of information, but sends 3 emails a day, and his following absolutely loves it. I mean, they just wait for his email. And others, if you do even 1 a day, the people are furious. So you really do have to know your market and your avatar. So how can a business owner get better results from their online marketing efforts? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, I think it's as what I said. I think it's helpful to think of online marketing as a sales conversation. I definitely think the key is you got to know your avatar. I think you got to start there. I mean, I'm working with a guy right now, and it's he kind of wants to have me jump into Facebook ads, and I'm kind of like, but I don't know your people yet. I don't know your avatar, and how do I know? I mean, it comes down to the colors I might choose to the ad, to the person that I might, is the person older? What language do I use? And I mean, I understand a lot, new business owners may not have all this information, but in that point, I think it's important to just start. I mean, it's going to be this trade-off between, analysis paralysis, where you're like, okay, I don't have all the pieces. But as we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, you want to get that feedback. So,
Exactly.
so it's important to get started, and it's important to go, okay, well, I'm going to do some advertising. I don't really have the perfect handle on my avatar, but let's do a series of ads and see which ones resonate. And after that series of ads, and you have one that maybe does better, it's like, okay, they told me something about my avatar, what they're really looking for. For example, I'm working with a client and he has 4 lead magnets. I mean, a lot of people, they'll do 1 lead magnet and then they'll stop. And a lead magnet is, of course, that, it's also called ethical bribe, where you get that free thing in exchange giving up your email address. And it's probably true that you won't get that perfectly done the first time you create one. And he has
That's
four.
true.
He has four. And now I can take a look at his stats and I can see that two of them outperform the other two. So guess which ones we're going to focus on? The two that had the higher conversion rates.
Absolutely. Well, so let me ask you now. Let's go in a different path here with the social media. What's a top mistake that people make with social media? And I would think that well, that's a whole different conversation itself. I have someone discuss my social media, and I'm always poo-pooing this and poo-pooing that, and she's saying, "Oh, you don't know how important it is." So, what do you think? What is the biggest mistakes that people make with social media?
It goes back to that networking analogy that I just shared. A lot of times what I see, particularly in the brands I worked with, it's just broadcasting. They're just broadcasting, pushing their products. That's not really what you do with social media. It's really about, well, first of all, I think one thing is not spending time and figuring out where your peeps hang out. Is it more Pinterest that you should go towards, or Twitter? I mean, there's different sets of people that hang out in different types of social media. I mean, Facebook is kind of easy because almost everybody's there, so it's a good testing ground. But once you kind of go beyond Facebook, you really need to know that your peeps are there. And when I say peeps, of course, I mean your prospects. And I think it's that not thinking about social media as a conversation. It's really about, you meet people at a party. That's kind of what social media is. And then, when you get to know them a little better and it seems like you guys are sharing the same values and the same conversation, then maybe invite them over to your house, which is your blog, and then they can get to know, oh wow, this is how they furnish it, this is kind of their taste, this is kind of their style. Oh, I resonate with that. And it's kind of what your blog sometimes will do, is people will kind of resonate with the way you write. But yeah, I think it's not figuring out which social media platforms work for their business, and I think it's just that they're broadcasting and not conversing. Those are two of the top mistakes I see.
Well, now, I want people to know how to get in touch with you because you're a wealth of knowledge. And I know that it's like the shoemaker who has no shoes. You're working on a web page or a website, so I'm not sure which one you want them to go to. So where should they go to in order to find you?
They can go to yoursuccessfulwebsite.com, and
Okay.
there'll be a contact form there.
Okay, so it's your
Your
YOUR success SUCCESS FUL successfulwebsite.com. Yoursuccessfulwebsite.com. Wow, fantastic. Well, I'll tell you something. You have been a wealth of information, Kathy Alice, and I will tell you that anybody listening should be ready, ready and waiting. So I think that you'll get a lot of interest after this because people really are in a daze about what to do. And then there's always so many new things coming out every single day. You should do this, you should do that. And people jump on the bandwagon and then they don't know what they're doing and they confuse a lot of what they have already done. So if you want to get in touch with Kathy, she is a wealth of information. She understands both geek and business fluently. And her website is yoursuccessfulwebsite.com. I want to thank you so much for being with us today, Kathy, and good luck to you. I know you're going to be in business for a long, long time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to speak and chat. It was fun.
Thank you.